Now, today's Tuesday, September 2nd, and we are getting ready to go up to the front desk there at our hotel and check out and start our climb. I had a pretty good night's sleep. Wasn't perfect. It was a lot better than the night before. We had a good breakfast. We've got everything packed. I feel pretty good about the way things are organized. Physically, I'm feeling pretty good at the moment. I'm looking forward to the climb. All of our climbing party has now arrived. We've got a total of 10 of us. The last two guys just came in last night, and they had more luggage problems like some of the folks did early on. So one guy's feeling pretty stressed about it all, not having any of his clothes, so we'll see how that turns out. So what we're going to do this morning is go up to the front desk, and we're going to leave some clothes behind that we don't need for the trip. We've packed other things into our day pack that we will need during the day, and we'll have a third bag then that we give to the porter, and the porters then carry that up to the camp where we'll spend our first night on the mountain, so we won't have access to all of those things. So the challenge was trying to figure out what did you need to take in your day pack that you don't need, and what can you give to the porters to carry so that your day pack is a little bit lighter, staying within the limits that the porters can carry, of course. So we're looking forward to the day. Okay, Brother Pat, what are you doing right now?
Well, I'm closing up my stuff and reorganizing what I'm going to pack, and I'm ready to shut off my phone. I just got it charged. I don't plan on using them much. I may send some text as we go, but I'm packing stuff up. We're going to head to the front desk. I didn't have such a hot night last night sleeping. I went to bed without my earplugs in, and we had this pack of dogs right behind our building, and chickens were hooting and hollering and clucking all night long. So I woke up at 1:30 after the big fight with the dogs and had to rustle around, dig up my earplugs. They're already packed. So now I had to unpack everything in the middle of the night with a flashlight. So I woke up Brother Kerry, went back to bed with my earplugs, and when I found out, somehow the earplugs were making this air conditioner sound like call to prayers in a Muslim community. So I kept thinking, well, I've never heard the call to prayers before. Why do I hear it now? So finally concluded it's the wax earplugs that were doing it. So that's the status. I don't think I was hearing things. I know the dogs were there for sure, and the chickens.
So, did you get any mosquito bites yet?
No mosquito bites, not one. There was one in the room yesterday, none today.
Okay. And how about your Diamox? Did you take that?
I took one. I had to cut all the pills in half. I realized I had double doses, so I had to last night cut them in half with my contraband knife that I managed to sneak aboard. And so I'm going to take 2 half doses every day. So I get, instead of one, I'll get 2 smaller doses. So I took it. I wasn't going to take it this early. Normally I'd probably wait until I got to around 13, 14, or 15,000 feet, but everyone says to take it, so I did. I'm going to look at my little Lucky Charm here. This is Donna got me this little P. It's either P for Purdue or P for Pat. But he's riding in the front of my backpack. If you notice, he's looking straight ahead, so he's going to have one of the best views for the whole trip. No matter where I go, he'll be looking.
Our step was light as we climbed on to the crowded bus for a dusty and bumpy ride to the gateway of our journey. One member of our party opted to start the next day due to the late arrival of his luggage, so 9 of us would become a team, mostly strangers before our arrival, but soon to become dependent on each other for our success. The 3-hour bus ride took us through both urban and rural settings, revealing the poverty which dominated the view of many first-time visitors. Along the way, we had to visit Mother Nature when Mother Nature called. At the gate, which was almost a mile higher than the hotel where we had stayed, the temperature had already cooled a bit. The dozens of porters had to have their packs weighed to assure they did not exceed the legal limit. Although each of us would typically carry 20 pounds in our day packs, the porters carried the bulk of the gear, including tents, food, pots, and pans. So for each hiker, there were 3 to 4 additional support staff, porters, guides, and cooks. They were a marvelous, scrappy band of merry men. Okay, what's been going on?
Well, here we are with the Lemosho Gate. We had to check in with about, I bet, 200 other hikers, maybe 300 porters that are here. You had to sign in, turn your passport number down, and write your profession, how old you were, what country you're from. And we're just sitting here waiting. We showed up probably in the last, about the 3/4 mark of people that were here, and those 3/4 left. I can see from here our bus is still there, none of our luggage is on it. So we're going to be the last few people here. Brother Kerry theorizes that because we're late, we're all going to try to crowd into the same campground, and we're going to be sleeping on the rocks. So we'll give you an update at the campground, and then we'll look around for the rocks.
I'll introduce you to the rest of the team. This is Tanya, who's 45. She lives in Las Vegas. She served in the Army and is now a police sergeant who appears periodically in the reality TV show Cops. Vinay, 34, is from New York City and he's involved in the finance industry. He came with his girlfriend, Mansi, who invited him on this trip on their second date. He said yes in order to get a third date. Mansi, 29, is also from New York City where she is a business consultant and the girlfriend of Vinay. Matt, 31, from Kansas City, is a university researcher on the effects of drugs on animals. Melissa, 22, is from Miami, Florida. She's a recent college graduate with a political science major. She planned the trip herself and paid for it with her own money. Yessie, also 22, from Miami, Florida, is best friends with Melissa. She came on this trip because Melissa asked her. She also paid her own way. Kevin is 42 and from Montreal, Canada, where he's a professional engineer in pump manufacturing. He was not feeling well and took a nap. We ate a box lunch, and after the weigh-in, the bus was reloaded and we drove a relatively short distance to the trailhead. We'd be hiking the Lemosho Trail, one of the most difficult routes to the top, but also one with the highest success rate. 55% of the folks who attempt to climb Kili, as it's affectionately known, do not reach the summit. Altitude sickness is the primary reason. The route we were taking was longer, but gave us greater time to acclimate to the steadily increasing altitudes.
Here we are at Stevens News Network. It's now 3:30. We left the hotel today at 10 o'clock. We're driving and signing up at the Lemosho Gate. Everybody's unloading, and Kerry's already taking pictures of all the action behind us. So people are separating, they're all taking leaks in the trees, and we're getting ready to go. So 5.5 hours after departing, we're on the trail. Signing off for Stevens News Network. No, an actual plane. Oh.
Okay, so what do you think so far?
I think it's beautiful and it's going to be a great experience and it'll be worth it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you like so far about it?
The trees, everything's beautiful.
The hike was brisk and the trail was wide and well worn. Although enjoyable, the elevation change was surprisingly challenging. There was no time for exploring and little time for pictures. The vegetation was lush, with moss hanging from many trees. We caught a fleeting glimpse of a family of monkeys. I was pleased it had not rained in this rainforest. Suddenly, without warning, we emerged from the dense growth into a clearing populated with different colored tents. Initially, there appeared to be no organization to their placement. It was as if they had all been thrown up into the air and then settled as they may, tucked between the trees within the clearing.
Okay, end of day one hike. What was your experience like?
Magnificent.
And what was magnificent about it?
All the thought-free jungle.
Okay, Tanya, we've made it to the end of our first day of hiking. How was your experience?
It was a lot more grueling than I expected the first day.
Yeah,
I mean, I made it, obviously, but yeah, a lot of uphill.
it was.
It was. I was telling the guide, as we were making up the way here, I said, if we go any further up, I said, I'm going to need a break. And he goes, home sweet home. And I'm like, really? He goes, right up the hill, come on. I'm like, okay, cool.
Other teams were climbing the mountain at the same time, so we were led to our solid orange, tightly clustered shelters. Each of us had to unzip the fronts of each tent to discover which one contained the portion of our belongings carried by the porters. This would be our new home du jour.